sign into LinkedIn and YouTube and manage that. See if there's people joining there. Live stream.
Looks like we are up on YouTube.
Yeah, guys, as you're coming in, keep throwing some info in the chat where you're calling from. Maybe like a quick sentence or two about your company would be cool. You know, what we like to do on these calls is just kind of keep it casual and keep you know, the discussion lively. That's our best discussions come when you guys are giving us some feedback and really helping drive it, like any questions that you ask or projects that you have, or just, you know, I don't know, anything about your company. We can just kind of be a little more, a little less scripted and a little more open. If you guys just kind of give us some nuggets about what you're interested in learning about, we can kind of drive down that path. And I see Phil from Atlanta. Martin, yeah, I know, you know, it's kind of been some touch and go with you guys, which, you know, I think there's just, we're trying to nail down the scope of certain projects and specifically find something that's working for you that meets the requirements, but at the same time don't want to hold you back. You know, if there's things out there that you found that are going to make your customer happy, make your business happy, but at the same time, but also don't want to be don't want to miss out on the opportunity either. So yeah, thanks for patience with us and some of the things we're working on. Yeah, excited to kind of keep that going. Let's see, anybody else out there? Yeah, keep bringing the chat, guys. Keep, you know, if there's anything, maybe what would be good, a prompt for you guys. You know, what are you guys most interested in seeing on this webinar? You know, is it specific solutions? Is it about the software? Is it about APIs and integrations, more technical? Is it about sales and projects that we're doing, like real world projects we can talk about? You know, is there anything specific, anybody out there you guys want to see? Otherwise, we'll just kind of go do the normal spiel. You know, you guys, you just signed up just to kind of get an overview of who myDevices is. We can go through that as well. But yeah, I would love to kind of hear from the audience what would be most intriguing for you guys. And in the meantime, I'm gonna make sure I got my LinkedIn stuff open so I can see if there's any questions out there. Gray matter systems. Yeah. Hey, Mark, how you doing? Live demo of water leak sensors and dashboard. Okay, yeah, Marty, we can do that. Leak sensors are interesting because, you know, I think we've talked about this in one of these webinars before, but got insurance premiums and things like that associated with leak detection. You know, if an insurance company can be brought into the opportunity to say, hey, we're going to reduce the premiums that we charge per month to a commercial real estate company or to a hotel or something like that in exchange for you deploying a leak detection system, then it's kind of a win-win-win for everybody. And leak sensors have evolved over time, because if you go back 5 years ago, 6 years ago, you've got these like little probe things that you stick in a corner somewhere, and if the water doesn't, you know, hit it in that perfect spot or goes around it, you still don't know, and it's kind of useless. And then there's other form factors, and those probe things do have a purpose. There are some scenarios where they are ideal, but then there's others where, like our friends over at Alexa Guardian, who are just selling a massive amount of their leak sensors using our platform, but they've got these like drip pan style leak sensors where like the water comes from top, it like catches it into this bowl basically, but there's also prongs on the bottom, so if the water goes underneath the thing, it can catch it there. And then you've got like another partner of ours, Kairos, who's got the leak sensors that are actually, like I describe them as saran wrap, like they're these square cutouts, and it's literally like saran wrap, but it's got these like probes that run through them, and that just covers like a large, like that would be like under a refrigerator or under a washer and dryer or dishwasher, things like that. Like you can't miss the leak. So it is an interesting use case. Yeah, why don't we do this, Matt? Do you want to just do kind of quick 2-3 minute intro on who myDevices is for those out there that don't know? Maybe share some screens, show some cool stuff, and then we'll yeah, for Marty's sake, we can get into some leak sensors specifically and some dashboards and things like that, and then we can just kind of see where we end up from there.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thanks, Cam. And again, appreciate everybody hopping on this morning and well, this afternoon, I guess it depends on where you are. So quick introduction to myself, Matthew Barry, Business Development Manager here at myDevices, based out of Orlando, Florida. So Mark, not too far away from you in Melbourne there. Been with the company for a little over a year at this point, and really, I like to say that my job title is just a fancy one that means that I chat with folks like yourselves and try and understand the IoT sensor projects that you're working on, and hopefully, can then speak to how our technology enables companies to streamline their go-to-market with IoT solutions for their clients. So to Cam's point, yeah, I think it'd be helpful for everyone just to give a 5,000 foot high level overview. We'll keep things as interactive as we can. So, down at the bottom there's the chat. We've got a Q&A section as well. So as I'm going through a bit more about us, if you have anything that you would like to know in particular, feel free to throw any questions in that Q&A. So let me go ahead and share my screen. I think it's helpful to visualize some of this stuff as well. And Carson, yes, I believe that a recording of the call gets sent out in our follow-up email. Let me share my screen.
And there's also a comment in the YouTube section about sharing success stories. So yeah, we'll definitely get into some of those at some point today as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Cam, since you're the only other person on this call with a voice, do you see my screen on your side?
I got it just fine. Yep, you're good.
Perfect. All right, guys. So quick overview of myDevices as a company. We've been in the commercial IoT space at this point for a better part of a decade. Founded in 2015. We're headquartered out of Burbank, California, just outside of Los Angeles. But employees across the US, like myself here in Florida, completely global operation as well. So we do have an office in Paris, France, deployments throughout North America, South America, Europe, Asia Pacific, you name it, we're there. Working with a really vast portfolio of partners on our side, everybody from the 1 to 2 man startup organization all the way up to some of the largest companies in the world. You see a few there: T-Mobile, Sodexo, Aramark. Really, at the end of the day, though, our core business model is enablement, as I mentioned. So really, again, just streamlining that process by which our partners can bring IoT to the market. There's a lot of fragmentation that exists in this space today that creates this barrier to entry. And there's a lot of different players out there, from hardware manufacturers to network providers to software developers, logistical services. It really, catches a lot of companies who want to provide IoT in this R&D cycle, where they're trying to focus their time, energy, resources, money into standing up sensor solutions. And through our complete end-to-end enablement platform, we're able to kind of leapfrog that entire R&D process. So your resources can be focused on providing meaningful solutions to your clients. And I think that the easiest way to kind of speak to this end-to-endness of our platform is to show you what I'm talking about. So what you guys are looking at right now is the myDevices store page, our sensor catalog. And you could spend all day looking for the bottom of this page. It's an aggregation of, at this point, about 1,100 different IoT sensors from about 300 different manufacturers. What makes myDevices pretty unique is that we actually warehouse and hold inventory of these sensors in North Hollywood, California. So it allows us to be a single point of hardware acquisition, meaning that you're not going to Dragino for temperature and humidity sensors and then Netbox for window and door sensors, so on and so forth. You can place a singular order with us, but then because we also get hands-on all these devices, we manage logistical services. So pick, pack, and ship these devices, but also the pre-provisioning process, pre-configuration. So each one of these devices on its own has its own APIs, APKs, has to be configured to a network as well as a visualization layer for it to provide meaningful data. So we do all of that work ahead of time, meaning that all of our sensors arrive plug and play ready to speak back to our sensor application. Before I get into that, Cam, was there anything that you wanted to add on the logistics side, kind of the pre-configuration process?
No, but I guess, yeah, just briefly, I guess. So there's some importance to that sensor library and being able to mix and match. And maybe this bleeds into some success stories as well, in some way, because we've got a large bulk of clients and partners that are leveraging our technology today in a really big way. And these are some of the largest companies in the world, and their main problem consistently across the board is acquiring the right sensor for the use case. And that seems to be a big issue. So that we see consistently. What I mean by that is, if you want to do temperature monitoring in refrigerators, which is the right temperature sensor and where do you go to acquire it? When you figure that all out, well, you also might want to do air quality in your building and HVAC monitoring and energy monitoring and leak detection and all these other things. And having to go down this journey for every single one of those use cases and try to find the right sensor is extremely problematic. And even beyond just identifying the sensor in the first place, when you then start to deploy, and this is really where we really strive, is you start to deploy at a single location. Like, let's say we got a partner, Good Farms, who does like ag solutions, and it could be smart valves, soil moisture, weather detection, like rain detection or rain levels. There's just so many different things in an agriculture solution. So you can identify what you think are the right sensors, and then you put them out in the field. But then you start to realize that either that sensor is close but not there, it just needs some tweaks, or it's the wrong sensor altogether. Because when you put it out in the field and you plug it in, and you realize like, oh, it needs to have, it's 1 inch and it needs to be 2 inches, or it's the soil calibration levels aren't right for this weather condition, or whatever it is. Like, you just don't know what you don't know. Imagine having to then go back out on this journey where you then have to scour the internet to find another sensor, find a way to contact the person that provides that sensor and order more sample units. And then when you get the sensor, you've got to program and provision and configure and do all this work to turn it on so that it actually works, point it to a LoRa network or a cellular network, get it to an application, decode the payload, and then visualize it, only to find out that you then need to tweak again, even further. So what we really do is in that first mile of IoT, and that's what's shown here, is all of these sensors. You can say, okay, I want to try this one, and this one. You get them, you scan them in with the app, and you see the data, and you can then do custom dashboards and all of that, which I think Matt's about to show. And then right away, okay, good or not. And if it's not, try this sensor. You can very quickly iterate until you've got the working solution. And then from there, it's about how do you scale? And that's where this part becomes really important. It all starts with the hardware list and the logistics to get it there so that it's all plug and play. But then now this becomes important. Is the data coming in correctly? Should it be visualized this way or that way? We need to add users to it. We need to add alert thresholds, and that can all be done very easily through here. And then once that's done, the most important part is then getting the data out through integrations. And there's a big difference between getting a sensor and then integrating that sensor, feeding data out, and getting the sensor and getting it in, having it connected into this system where you can visualize it, add alerts, do data manipulation with equations and other things, and then integrate it outbound. And I'll say like 90% of our deployments end up with the data out of our platform. It's going into a CMMS system or a building management system or a work ticketing system of some kind, but we do become that kind of layer in between, that the glue that kind of holds everything together. So yeah, the logistics and hardware, probably one of the most important parts, but then yeah, data gets into here. And yeah, Matt, go ahead, keep going. What happens once the data gets into this portion of it?
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Cam. So, this visualization layer here, our sensor application, typically is getting white labeled by our partners. So ultimately, this entire page gets rebranded, your logo, colors, your product. We're really behind the scenes kind of standing it up, enabling it again. But it's as simple as Cam mentioned. We've done the provisioning process already. And then when we want to add new devices into the application, if we're adding sensors at Acme Company, we just pop in, we add a device, we're scanning in the QR code or just punching in a device ID, naming it, and then in just a matter of seconds, we're able to start visualizing that data. So really simple implementation of IoT sensors across many different use cases. This is a single pane of glass where we can mix and match any of the different sensors that we offer and then visualize in one place. And there's a lot of different ways that we can do that visualization. We could have a list view. So, at Acme Company here, we can have a number of locations and open them up and then be able to see quickly, hey, how much water is my toilet using? Can I open and close this valve? We get kind of this simple data here. We can click on a device and get historical data or view charts and do changes to device settings. But secondarily, we've got dashboards as well. So we take a pretty templative approach to dashboarding. And I think that, we've got here some of the more commonly seen packages that we're deploying in the field today, whether it's solutions like temperature monitoring or water metering. I think that was one that came up on the questions, if I'm remembering correctly, or it was leak detection. But we're able to use these templated dashboards for particular solutions, whether it's predictive maintenance or what have you. But we can also create custom dashboards, and that could be as simple as dragging and dropping widgets from a particular sensor, or if we want to combine different sensors into a singular view. We've also got widgets for things like real-time data, controls, visualization. If we want to add mapping, whether it's a satellite view or down to the uploading custom floor plans. I'm kind of randomly pulling stuff in here, but ultimately you can drag and drop, resize all these widgets to create the views that are most meaningful to you and your clients. Ultimately, maybe it winds up looking something like an HVAC dashboard. But there's a lot of flexibility in there. We can even lock these dashboards and share a link with external folks who maybe don't need full application access, but some pretty powerful visualization there. And on top of it, we're able to be proactive with this data as well by setting things like alerts via SMS and email if we're getting outside of particular defined parameters on any data sets, as well as reporting capabilities as well. So, as Cam kind of alluded to before, for a portion of our partners, this is the end product, right? They white label this application here. They're providing easily deployed IoT sensor solutions to their clients with data visualization. But for others, they want to take all this aggregated data and then flow it outbound to, let's say, a work ticketing system or a CMMS or an advanced reporting tool like a Power BI, which we can do pretty simply utilizing our robust integrations capabilities. And we've got different ways that we can push and pull data. I'd say most commonly being webhooks, but also single click cloud-to-cloud integrations with AWS, Google, Azure, REST API. So lots of flexibility then in terms of moving that data on to essentially act as a single API, making any platform reverse compatible with any of the 1,100 different sensors that we offer. And Cam, anything you want to add in there?
Yeah, that's the critical part. So now in the story where we've gone is we're a single source of hardware acquisition for our clients, right? So you've got customers or you've got deployments internally that you need done, and you've identified, okay, I need something that can monitor for leaks. I need something that can monitor for vibration and temperature, whatever it is. We then say, okay, here's the devices and you can order them all from here. And then they get shipped and then you turn them on and they're instantly available in this app. And now you can see the data. You can validate that it's what you need. You can create dashboards to create different views to make sure you're getting the full picture. You can set alert thresholds. You can add users so that they can see it and have access to it. And now you can then take that data and add value to existing systems. So if you've got a lot of times it's a CMMS system that it's going into. A lot of these scenarios occur where there's situations where there's a maintenance person walking. Maybe there's an app or maybe it's a clipboard, but they're walking to assets and they're doing inspections, whether they're checking temperatures of refrigerators or they're checking fan speed of HVAC units, or they're checking meters on water pipes to see how much the flow rate. These are all kind of human involved activities. And 90% of the time these days, it's going into some kind of digital platform, maybe pen and paper, but mainly these digital applications where they go in and can key in those values. And then there's a digital report that's created. So the integrations makes it so you don't have to deal with connecting things up to that third-party app until you can use this just plug and play app and just validate that, okay, the sensor is getting the type of data I need. It's configured properly, everything's good. And then start opening up the integrations into that app so that now that's being enhanced. All of a sudden that this no longer requires a person to go out and inspect things. There's just sensor data feeding into this app that are running the inspections all on their own. So those are yeah, that's kind of the critical part at the end. Where we end up getting to is we need good data, we need valuable data, and then we use that data to enhance other systems. And then on an executive level, for most of our deployments, it is these Power BI or Tableau reports. So we have a full-on Databricks integration that allows us to get data into Power BI very easily, and you can create reports really for any metrics or anything. So becomes that full end-to-end solution, and our platform is a piece of that kind of glues everything together. But there's a lot around it that creates a full stack offering that that really, and when you license this service and this system, you become miles ahead within this industry and able to offer any type of solution, any level of customization or simplicity as well, simple plug and play solutions as well. So yeah, that's kind of the full thing. And I think the final part of this that really holds it all together is the services and support that are offered around it. And that comes from our team, weekly calls, sensor consulting, saying, hey, this sensor is best for this use case versus others. I'm going to steal your screen. Actually, it looks like you have to pause, and I'll just steal it really quickly. But I just wanted to kind of show an example of that kind of engagement, where on my screen here, we get pictures from the client site that's, hey, we've got these water meters that look like this, for example, and we need to know, how can we take the readings from the water meters that are existing and put them into the app, make them digital, make them, connected. And so we'll take a look at these pictures and then we'll make recommendations. We've got, subject matter experts that will something like this. That's like a trade, like water. There's experts that we work with that we've identified that have white labeled our platform probably as well, but have agreed to, they'll go on site for their rate and check things out and make recommendations. And then there's other more simple ones where we'll make the recommendations on our own. And we did the utility webinar, a month ago, but there's some good pictures in here too that I like to share. This is on an electrical submetering side. So this is another one where the university, there's dorms in the university and they need to know how much electricity each dorm is using so that they can, separate the bill on a per unit basis rather than a per building basis. So there's the hot drop device that we'd recommend for something like this that allows you to just clamp onto the electric meters and do energy metering. And you can kind of see, actually there's, I'll find one of the better pictures here, but there's a large like CT here. You can kind of see the device and it's actually monitoring the amount of electricity that the building's using. You just clip that thing in there and now you can monitor. So yeah, these are the types of deployments where we get these kinds of images and things like this, and we can make recommendations on sensors. I do want to share kind of some of the success that we've had and the types of companies we work with. Aramark being one that I like to share, just because they've got a platform that they call iWix Connect, which is for IoT data-driven intelligence, and it's really around optimizing cleaning schedules and optimizing building utilization, space utilization, but by having access to our large portfolio of sensors and our simple integrations, they're offering full stack air quality monitoring, service validation, leak detection, vibration and predictive maintenance, pressure monitoring, refrigeration, right? They're doing all of these different things under their iWix Connect brand, and we're empowering that. It's our platform underlying, and it's they're acquiring the hardware from us. Sodexo, we've got global deployments with them as well, doing similar things, primarily in Europe. Henry Schein is a dental distribution company. We're doing a lot of predictive maintenance on air compressors and things like that inside of dental offices. We've got Honeywell, Brightly Solutions, which is a Siemens company. They're acquired by Siemens. This is an asset management platform. It's a system that's used to automate inspections, or not automate, but digitalize inspections. But by connecting our sensors to it, they have automated inspections of industrial assets. So machines and motors and plastic injection machines inside of warehouses and factories that need to be inspected on a regular basis. You can now just throw sensors on there and then send that sensor data into the asset inside of the platform, and now they can automate those inspections. iAuditor that does inspection checklisting for temperature monitoring or OSHA compliance, things like that. Sensor data goes into their app to automatically fill out those inspection checklists. Mentioned Good Farms. It's doing all kinds of environmental and agricultural solutions. So these are all just different kind of companies doing some asset tracking with the guys at Expo, BASF, huge deployments there. HVAC start. I mean, this is an HVAC service company where we're allowing them to offer a managed service, traditionally just as a service technician company, but now they're embedded sensors into their business, and they're now offering to their clients preventative maintenance and service contracts, and because they can inspect their HVAC, so they deploy to their customer sites remotely, so they can offer enhanced services and increase revenue to their customers. So that's just a handful of the types of companies we work with and how we've been able to help. So really anybody looking to get into IoT as a way to optimize their internal processes or add additional revenue streams in different ways, we can take a look at what you're doing today and how do we enhance that with sensors so that you can go to market. And a lot of times it's not as straightforward as you think. It's not, HVAC Star Plus is not just saying like, hey, customer, I can sell you a sensor. They're selling a service, and the sensor is what's enabling them to sell that service. So it's sometimes a little out of the box thinking. And Aramark is the same thing. They're not selling, hey, we're going to put CO2 sensors in your building. Is that okay? Because it doesn't really resonate with the end user. What resonates with the end user is we're going to sell you a solution and a product that's going to reduce the amount of times we clean your bathrooms, therefore saving you money. And that is by counting people. We can clean bathrooms only when we need to. Demand-driven cleaning schedules, that's going to save you money, and it's going to create a more efficient environment. Sensors enable them to offer that service, but it's not the sensor that's being sold. And that's really, I think that's critical to reaching scale in this industry, is kind of understanding that concept. So I'd love to see if there's any questions in the chat or anything at this point, or anything else further. I know, the leak detection stuff, let's see if I have that. I don't know if I can share this this window, unfortunately. Let's see if I can. We'll see if it pops up, but yeah, there's some really interesting devices out there for leak detection that are pretty new that I was talking about earlier that I think would be interesting for everybody here to see. Yeah, the screen share is not working for that. Bummer. Okay, but anyways, yeah, there are those membranes I mentioned with that company, Kairos, and then there's the drip pans from Alexa. And inside of that application that Matt was showing, one of the cool things is that we can do custom dashboarding. So we can actually build from scratch any view that you'd like. So you can actually go in here and drag and drop in different widgets. And what ends up happening is the final dashboard looks something like this for HVAC monitoring, or for tank level monitoring might look something like this. So we can very easily put together any kind of leak detection dashboard. And a lot of times water metering and water leak detection are kind of interchangeable. There's a project the one that I was showing the pictures of earlier, the real use case there is they just want to sub-meter every apartment building inside of an apartment complex, because then they can see on a chart like this, are the water levels ever going down close to zero in a unit? And in theory, there should be a time in every unit where they're not using any water because they've got to be sleeping or something, so, but if there's a constant flow of water 24/7, well, there's a leak in the pipe somewhere, the water's running somewhere, so they can go inspect that. So many different ways to kind of tackle these different projects. And the great part is that we become sort of that single platform that really enables all of them. So it kind of becomes the foundation by which these solutions can be created and deployed quickly. So Matt, I'll turn it back over to you if there's any other comments or feedback on that.
Yeah, we just had a question here. Mario asked how long the history data is stored for.
Yeah, so history is stored unlimited within our platform. So there's a different license. There's you get a license to the platform, you get your white label app, you get your own realm. It's all containerized. So you have basically your own piece of the architecture. And with that, you have unlimited data storage. So yeah, no need to worry about that.
Awesome. Well, hey, everybody. This time never lasts as long as it needs to. I think we're already up to 1:30 here. So I think, we're talking about really powerful stuff here with all these different sensor solutions and software capabilities that we're offering. But I think in regards to what is most interesting to us is really what you're doing with this technology. So would love to set up time with you guys to chat a bit more in detail. So we are doing free project consultations right now. And there's a link that you guys can go to, mydevices.com/Matt. And this will be included, I believe, in the follow-up emails. But absolutely, feel free to grab a time and we can talk more about the specifics of your projects. Again, this is a bit more of a high-level overview, but we'd love to hear more about what you guys are working on and how we can best partner together. So feel free to jump on, again, mydevices.com/Matt, and we will look forward to chatting with you guys more soon.
See you guys
Cam,
later.
anything
Thank you
else
so much
on
for
your
the time.
end?
Nope,
Yep.
that's it.
All
Just
right.
coming off mute. Yeah, have a good day, everybody. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, guys. Be well. Talk soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.